You see, the secret to wealth is not in how much money you make, but in how you make money work for you. Money in itself is neither good nor bad. It's a tool. It can be your servant, quietly building your future while you sleep. Or it can be your master, dictating your every choice and stealing your freedom. I've seen countless people chase money as though it were a trophy, only to find that the more they chased it, the less control they had over their lives. They were slaves to their paycheck, their bills, and their impulses. That doesn't have to be you. The philosophy is simple. Treat money as a servant. When you give it a job, when you assign it purpose, it will obey. This is where discipline comes in. The first step is creating a budget that serves your life, not your impulses. Many people make the mistake of allowing every dollar to wander. They spend what they earn without intention, thinking that income alone will bring freedom. But freedom comes from control. Write down your goals, both short-term and long-term, and assign your money to support them. Let a portion go into savings, another into investments, and another into giving, because generosity compounds character as well as wealth. Automate this process. Don't leave it to chance or willpower. Set up automatic transfers into accounts that reflect your priorities: one for long-term investments, one for retirement, and one for personal growth. Over time, you'll watch the quiet work of compounding do what no frantic hustle ever could. This is how ordinary people become financially extraordinary, not by earning more, but by using what they have more wisely. And here's the beauty of this principle: money working for you buys you time, which is the most valuable asset of all. It allows you to learn, to grow, to mentor, and to create. When your money is your servant, you are free to focus on what truly matters: developing yourself, building systems, and making a difference. Every dollar becomes a worker in your personal economy, each compounding quietly into more resources, more opportunity, and more freedom. I know because I've lived it. I started with nothing, and the first lesson I learned was to make money my servant. I disciplined my income, I automated my savings, and I focused on building assets that produce even when I sleep. And slowly, steadily, that discipline created the freedom to live on my terms. Remember, money is an excellent servant, but a terrible master. Command it wisely, and it will serve you for a lifetime. Now, once you've learned to make money your servant, the next lesson is to protect the gold you already hold. Many people are eager to chase profits, to get rich quickly, to multiply their income overnight. But I've observed a simple truth in life and in business. It's not how much you make that determines your wealth. It's how much you keep. You can earn a fortune and lose it faster than you made it if you fail to protect what you already have. Wealth without preservation is like water in a sieve. It slips through your fingers no matter how much you pour in. Protection requires wisdom, structure, and patience. First, avoid high-interest debt and risky leverage. Debt, if unmanaged, is a silent thief. I've seen people get excited about a new investment or a shiny business opportunity, only to realize later that they had mortgaged their future for a promise that never materialized. Wealth builders treat money cautiously. They ask, what could go wrong? Before asking, what could go right? This mindset prevents reckless decisions and allows compounding to do its quiet, powerful work over time. Next, diversification is your armor. Don't place all your eggs in one basket. I've always advised spreading your resources across multiple assets and income streams. Real estate, stocks, business equity, and intellectual property, each of these has a role in your portfolio. Some will grow, some will stabilize, and some may fluctuate, but together they create resilience. Wealth grows best in an ecosystem of variety where no single failure can topple your financial foundation. Finally, study risk management as rigorously as you study success. Many people are quick to read about riches, but slow to read about failure and protection. Understand market cycles, interest rates, insurance, and the laws that govern wealth. Knowledge is your shield. Just as you invest in your skills and mindset, invest in the systems and principles that prevent loss. I can tell you from experience, the richest people I've known didn't just chase income, they disciplined themselves to protect it first. They safeguarded their foundations, measured their exposure, and prepared for the unforeseen. And when the time came to multiply their wealth, their base was solid and growth was sustainable. Remember, wealth without preservation is fragile, but when you protect your gold, every step you take toward multiplication becomes safe, measured, and powerful. Guard your resources first, and then let them work tirelessly for you. Once you've learned to protect your wealth, the next principle is understanding the trade between present pleasure and future freedom. I've seen countless people make this mistake. They spend what they haven't earned yet, indulging in impulses that steal tomorrow's opportunity. The truth is simple: the pain of discipline weighs ounces, but the pain of regret weighs tons. When you give into immediate gratification, you trade your long-term freedom for a fleeting sense of comfort today. And make no mistake, freedom is the true currency of wealth. The wealthy understand this instinctively. They know that every impulse purchase is a mini decision to diminish their future. It could be the shiny car you don't need, the latest gadget, or dining out excessively when you could invest those same dollars. Every dollar spent without thought is a soldier sent to the wrong battlefield, leaving you weaker in the long run. I remember my own early years, when a tempting purchase would feel good in the moment, but afterward I would feel the weight of lost opportunity. That was the lesson that shaped my discipline. The strategy is simple but requires practice. Pause before spending. Give yourself a 24-hour window before any large purchase. Ask yourself, will this buy joy or just noise? If the answer is anything less than lasting satisfaction or value creation, it doesn't belong in your present. Instead, redirect that money into investments, savings, or growth opportunities. Let your dollars work for you quietly in accounts, assets, or ventures, compounding quietly while you sleep. Every delayed gratification builds momentum. Every thoughtful investment strengthens your freedom. I've watched many people sabotage themselves by living in the now at the expense of the future. Wealth is rarely built by impulse. It is built by conscious, repeated choices. The wealthy delay pleasure because they understand the exponential effect of compounding, not just in money, but in personal growth and opportunity. Discipline may feel small in the moment, but its results echo for decades. Regret, on the other hand, is crushing and permanent, leaving a trail of what-ifs that no amount of money can erase. So train yourself to pause, reflect, and redirect. Treat every dollar as a vote for your future. Spend with intention, invest with purpose, and remember that the freedom you seek tomorrow is earned by the choices you make today. Your small daily decisions are the building blocks of wealth, and the habit of delayed gratification is what separates fleeting comfort from lasting freedom. As we move through life building wealth, it's easy to focus only on numbers, on assets, and on accumulation. But true wealth is not measured by dollars alone. It's measured by the difference you leave behind, by the life that continues to flourish after you've gone. Legacy is the final stage of wealth, and this is where the rich understand that their ultimate value lies not in what they keep, but in what they give, the principles, systems, and wisdom that endure. I've spent years studying people who built fortunes, yet the ones who inspired generations weren't those with the flashiest cars or largest accounts. They were the ones whose lives became a blueprint for others, people who designed a life that outlived them. The philosophy is simple: don't just make a living, design a life. The strategy is to shift your focus from mere accumulation to contribution. Your dollars are important, yes, but the systems you create, the values you instill, and the knowledge you pass on will compound far longer than any investment. When I think about my own life, I realize the most valuable things I've passed on weren't tangible, they were lessons, habits, and perspectives about success, discipline, and integrity. These are the assets that last, and they are immune to market fluctuations or economic downturns. Practical steps make this philosophy actionable. First, document your principles. Write down the rules you live by, the habits that guide your decisions, and the values that define your character. These principles become a roadmap for those who follow. Second, create generational systems, trusts, investments, or educational funds that ensure the wealth you build doesn't end with you. Structuring resources wisely guarantees that your labor benefits future generations. Third, teach your children and mentees not only how to earn money, but how to think about it, how to manage it, grow it, and respect it. Knowledge and perspective compound just like money, and their impact is far greater. I've observed that people who ignore legacy often work tirelessly to build wealth, only to see it dissipate or leave those who follow unprepared. Those who understand the final stage of wealth don't just chase profits. They build systems, instill discipline, and create environments where others can thrive. Legacy is the bridge between your life and the lives of those yet to come. It is the quiet echo of your values and wisdom, resonating long after the applause of success has faded. Design your life so that what you build today continues to serve, teach, and inspire tomorrow. One of the most overlooked truths about wealth is that your income rarely exceeds your level of personal development. People often ask me, how do I make more money? And my answer is always the same: become more valuable. The marketplace rewards value, and value is not a number in your bank account. It is the knowledge, skill, and wisdom you carry in your mind. I have witnessed countless individuals work tirelessly, trading hours for dollars, and yet their income remains stagnant. Why? Because they invested in everything except themselves. They expected the world to reward them for what they already had, instead of investing in the one asset that never depreciates their own development. The philosophy is simple yet profound. To earn more, you must learn more. Wealth is not just a financial equation, it is a reflection of your ability to provide solutions, create opportunities, and increase your utility to the world. And this starts with the commitment to grow your mind. Knowledge compounds just like money does. The small steps you take daily, reading, listening, learning, reflecting, accumulate into abilities that others pay handsomely to access. I remember when I started my journey, I had very little in the way of resources, but I dedicated every evening to study. I read books on business, sales, economics, and leadership. Slowly, I noticed that doors began to open that had been invisible before. I wasn't just chasing money, I was expanding my capacity to earn it. The strategy to make this philosophy actionable is straightforward: prioritize education over entertainment, skill over distraction. Replace passive consumption with active growth. Even 30 minutes a day dedicated to learning about financial principles, business strategies, or investment techniques will compound into enormous advantage over time. The richest people I know are not those who work the longest hours, but those who think, learn, and apply knowledge consistently. Reading a page or two daily, listening to an audio lesson, or studying a mentor's success story may seem insignificant, but this accumulation of knowledge creates a skill set that becomes irreplaceable in the marketplace. Practical steps make this process sustainable. First, dedicate a specific block of time daily to financial, business, or personal development education. Treat it as non-negotiable, like a meeting with a client. Second, replace at least 1 hour of passive entertainment, television, social media, or browsing the web aimlessly with active learning. This shifts your mental diet from consumption to growth. Third, study the principles of wealth carefully: compounding, investing, leverage, and value creation. Understand how money works, but more importantly, understand how to make yourself work smarter so that money follows naturally. Study examples of those who built fortunes wisely. Their mistakes and successes teach lessons far more valuable than what you can learn from trial and error alone. I've noticed that those who neglect personal growth often blame circumstances or complain about opportunity. But I have also seen countless people, starting with nothing, transform their lives by committing to becoming more knowledgeable, skilled, and capable. Knowledge increases confidence, competence, and credibility, and in turn, your earning potential rises. Remember, wealth is attracted to those who bring exceptional value, and the path to becoming exceptionally valuable is paved with consistent learning and deliberate growth. Make learning a daily habit. Invest in yourself before you invest anywhere else, and watch as your capacity to earn, influence, and create multiplies in ways you never thought possible. One of the most powerful secrets I have discovered in my years of studying success and wealth is that true prosperity is always built in silence. The world celebrates loud accomplishments, flashy purchases, and instant gratification, but real wealth is rarely seen until it has been quietly cultivated for years. You see, the rich understand a principle that most people overlook. Don't spend your future trying to impress your present. Wealth is not about showing off. It is about creating freedom, security, and the ability to live life on your own terms. Many people fall into the trap of thinking that wealth is demonstrated by luxury cars, large houses, or expensive vacations. That is wealth's noise. True wealth is measured by the financial systems you create, the investments you make, and the discipline you exercise day after day. The philosophy behind silent wealth is simple: the loudest money is the most fragile, and the quietest money grows the strongest. When you save, invest, and reinvest systematically, you create compounding power that works while you sleep. I remember when I began my own journey. I did not announce every deal I made or every step forward. I focused on building solid foundations, putting away a portion of income, learning investment principles, and letting my money multiply quietly. Over time, the results spoke for themselves, not with noise, but with freedom. And it is freedom that defines real wealth, not possessions. Being able to make choices without financial pressure, to live according to your principles, and to give generously without worry, that is the ultimate measure of success. The strategy for building wealth silently involves discipline, consistency, and long-term thinking. Start by saving a fixed percentage of every dollar you earn, at least 10%. Allocate another 10% to investments, stocks, real estate, or other appreciating assets, and live on the remainder. Avoid the temptation to inflate your lifestyle as your income rises. Every dollar invested wisely multiplies over time, and compounding is far more powerful than flashy consumption. Reinvest profits rather than spending them. Let your money become a servant to your goals, working quietly to produce more money while you focus on growing your skills, your health, and your influence. Practical steps make this philosophy actionable. First, automate savings and investments to remove the human tendency toward impulse spending. Second, track your investments and monitor their growth, but do so privately. Do not flaunt it. Third, measure success not by how much you have in possessions, but by how much freedom, flexibility, and security you enjoy. Wealth built quietly allows you to live wisely, make thoughtful decisions, and take advantage of opportunities when they appear. The most powerful financial lessons I've learned in life came not from grand gestures, but from small, consistent actions compounded over years. A life of quiet wealth is a life of choice, peace, and enduring freedom. Focus on building it, and your future self will thank you in ways no flashy display ever could. One of the most overlooked truths about success and wealth is that motivation is fleeting. It comes in bursts, sometimes powerful, sometimes barely noticeable, but it cannot be relied upon to carry you to your goals. I've watched countless people start with great enthusiasm, only to fizzle out when the initial excitement wore off. That's why the secret of lasting success is not motivation, it is systems. You see, motivation is emotional energy. It gets you started, but it fades. Systems, on the other hand, are structures that outlive motivation. They don't rely on feeling inspired. They rely on consistency, discipline, and repetition. Systems turn chaos into clarity, randomness into mastery, and effort into results that compound over time. The philosophy here is simple: wealth, freedom, and personal growth are not accidents. They are the result of predictable actions executed consistently. Every great achievement I've ever witnessed or personally experienced was built on routines and systems, not occasional bursts of energy. In the early days of my career, I struggled to maintain focus when I relied solely on inspiration. I realized that the key wasn't to wait for motivation to arrive. It was to create a framework where the right actions happened automatically. Saving a portion of income, reading daily, exercising consistently, these are systems that, over time, produce results far beyond what sporadic effort could ever achieve. The strategy is to build habits and processes that work without constant effort or excitement. Begin by automating actions wherever possible. Automate saving and investing so the money flows into your future without a second thought. Automate learning. Schedule time each day for reading, listening to wisdom, or reflecting on your growth. Automate health routines, exercise at the same time each day, eat with intention, and rest consistently. When the big tasks are built into a system, you no longer need to rely on your willpower in moments of fatigue or distraction. You follow a proven process and the results follow naturally. Practical steps make this actionable. First, map out the daily actions that consistently move you toward your goals. Second, schedule them at the same time each day to create routine. Third, review these systems monthly. Ask yourself, are they producing results? Are they efficient? Are they scalable? Refining your systems is as important as building them, because even the best system can become outdated. Over time, these automated, disciplined structures compound, producing wealth, freedom, and personal growth without demanding constant heroic effort. Remember, it is the daily rituals, the small repeated actions, that separate those who dream from those who live the dream. One of the deepest misunderstandings people have about wealth is thinking it is measured by what you accumulate in your lifetime. The truth is, the major value in life is not what you get, it is what you become. You can earn millions, drive the fastest cars, and live in the largest houses, and still leave nothing that truly matters behind. Wealth is temporary if it only serves you in the present. Legacy, however, is eternal. Legacy is the combination of wisdom, values, and impact you leave behind, the difference you make in the lives of others and in the systems you create. If you want to live a life that matters, you must shift your focus from lifestyle to legacy. Wealth is important, yes, but purpose, contribution, and influence outlast money. The philosophy here is that the richest people are not those with the largest bank accounts, but those whose actions ripple beyond their own lives. Think about it. The most influential people you admire are remembered not just for what they earned, but for what they gave and how they shaped others. When I started my career, I realized quickly that money alone could not bring fulfillment. It was the knowledge I shared, the habits I modeled, and the opportunities I created for others that gave my life meaning. Wealth becomes a tool, but legacy becomes a story that continues to impact the world long after you are gone. The strategy is to use your life as a vessel for lasting value. Don't merely focus on spending, earning, or acquiring. Focus on building systems, teaching skills, and empowering people. A legacy isn't created by chance, it is intentionally designed. Assets can be part of this, but they should serve not only your lifetime, but also the next generation. Businesses, investments, habits, and principles you instill in others will continue to yield results long after you are no longer present. Legacy turns personal wealth into shared prosperity. The practical steps are simple but powerful. First, mentor others in what you have mastered. Share your wisdom, your failures, and your lessons. It costs little but yields enormous returns in influence and purpose. Second, build assets that last, not just cash flow, but businesses, investments, intellectual property, or educational resources that continue to serve beyond your lifetime. Third, reflect daily on the question, what will remain when I'm gone? Let this question guide your decisions, from daily actions to long-term planning. When every choice is filtered through the lens of legacy, your life moves from transient satisfaction to enduring significance. True wealth, then, is not the balance in your bank account. It is the impact that echoes through generations, the difference that transforms lives, and the story that outlives you. One of the most overlooked truths about wealth is that money does not simply fall into the laps of those who work the hardest or the longest. Money flows where value is created. It is not about time spent, but about the quality and impact of what you produce during that time. The philosophy is simple yet profound. You don't get paid for the hours you put in. You get paid for the value you bring to those hours. The richer you become in skill, wisdom, and capability, the richer you will find your financial outcomes. The world always rewards those who solve problems, who create solutions, and who contribute meaningfully to others' lives. If you want to attract wealth, you must focus on becoming indispensable, someone whose presence and output multiply the value around them. In my own journey, I quickly learned that working harder alone was not enough. Early in my career, I noticed that some people, seemingly doing the same work, were compensated far more because they had cultivated unique skills, insights, or relationships that added exceptional value. The strategy then is to consciously position yourself as a person of high value. This requires commitment to learning, growing, and improving faster than your circumstances. Every skill you acquire, every principle you apply, every habit you perfect increases the worth you bring to your work and, by extension, to the marketplace. Wealth, in essence, follows the trail of value. The practical steps to implement this principle are clear and actionable. First, identify one skill that has the power to multiply your income. Perhaps it is negotiation, leadership, financial literacy, or technological expertise, and dedicate yourself to mastering it. Don't spread yourself thin. Depth of competence is far more valuable than superficial knowledge. Second, shift your focus from compensation to contribution. Ask yourself, how can I serve more effectively? How can I solve bigger problems for more people? The more you focus on impact rather than reward, the more the reward naturally follows. Third, conduct a monthly review of how your work adds measurable value. Track results, not effort. Are your actions generating outcomes that improve processes, save time, enhance revenue, or change lives? If not, recalibrate and refocus your energy. By internalizing this philosophy and consistently applying it, you transform your approach to work, income, and opportunity. Money begins to flow naturally because you are no longer merely earning a wage. You are building a reputation as someone who produces extraordinary value. The secret to sustainable wealth is not chasing dollars, but relentlessly increasing your contribution to others. When you make yourself valuable, wealth becomes an inevitable byproduct of the service you provide. Remember, money always follows value, and the more indispensable you become, the more it will flow. Wealth does not happen by accident. Too many people drift through life, hoping that one day money will appear. That fortune will find them without direction or design. But the truth is clear: hope alone is powerless. Wealth requires a plan, a blueprint, and consistent action. Philosophy teaches us that a vague dream produces vague results. If you want to create lasting financial freedom, you must treat money the same way an architect treats a building project, with precision, measurement, and foresight. The rich understand this. They do not wish for wealth, they design it. In my own life, I saw the difference between those who succeeded and those who struggled. The ones who built real, lasting wealth had written plans. They knew where every dollar went, what each investment was meant to achieve, and how to align daily actions with long-term goals. On the other hand, people with only hopes and vague aspirations often found themselves working hard, earning, and yet never progressing. Strategy, then, is everything. To achieve financial freedom, you must convert abstract dreams into concrete plans. You must design your finances deliberately and execute your plan consistently, reviewing it as often as necessary to stay on track. Practical steps to make this happen are both simple and powerful. First, create a written financial plan. Document your income, your expenses, your savings, and your investments. Give each dollar a purpose and allocate it according to your goals. When your money has direction, it begins to work for you instead of against you. Second, set wealth targets at multiple time horizons: 1 year, 5-year, and 10-year objectives. These targets serve as milestones, guiding your decisions and keeping your efforts aligned with the bigger picture. When you know where you want to go, every step becomes purposeful. Third, review your progress quarterly. Track results, measure growth, and adjust as needed. The adage is true: what gets measured grows. Without regular evaluation, even the best plans can drift, and opportunity slips away unnoticed. By consistently applying these principles, you transform money from a source of stress into a tool for freedom. Planning creates control, and control creates opportunity. When you follow a plan, you are no longer at the mercy of circumstance or chance. You become the master of your financial destiny. Wealth is not merely about income. It is about designing a life where your resources serve your vision, your freedom, and your legacy. Start today, write your plan, act on it, and let disciplined strategy turn your wishes into reality. Wealth, by itself, is not a guarantee of freedom or fulfillment. I've seen it countless times. People earn millions, yet they live with worry, confusion, or regret. Philosophy teaches us that wealth without wisdom becomes a burden. Money multiplies whatever is already present in the mind and character. If you lack understanding, your wealth will only amplify mistakes. Riches can vanish as quickly as they arrive, and possessions can weigh heavy on a life that hasn't learned the lessons of prudence and patience. True financial mastery is not just about increasing your bank account. It is about growing your mind and your character alongside it. The aim should be to become both rich and wise, because wisdom sustains what mere fortune cannot. In my experience, I've met people who inherited wealth without education or preparation. Within a few short years, the money was gone, and they were left with the stress of choices they didn't understand. I also know those who started with very little, yet they studied, planned, and applied wisdom to every financial decision. Over time, their wealth grew steadily, silently, and most importantly, it endured. Strategy is simple. Never separate the growth of your wealth from the growth of your knowledge and character. The two must move together. When you master money through understanding and prudence, wealth serves you. When you neglect wisdom, wealth enslaves you. Practical steps to build this kind of wealth begin with education. Commit to studying personal finance, investing, and wealth principles on a monthly basis. Books, mentors, and courses aren't just tools, they are safeguards against ignorance and impulsive mistakes. Once you have mastered a principle, pass it on. Mentor someone who is beginning their journey. Teaching others reinforces your own understanding and creates a ripple effect of knowledge and discipline. Finally, cultivate humility. Wealth can tempt even the most grounded person into arrogance. Remember that wisdom sustains what pride destroys. A humble mind evaluates opportunities carefully, learns from mistakes, and remains open to growth. Arrogance, on the other hand, turns success into disaster. Wealth without wisdom becomes a heavy burden, but when paired with understanding, it becomes freedom, opportunity, and legacy. To truly thrive, never chase money alone. Chase knowledge, character, and understanding, and your wealth will naturally follow and endure. Build your mind as you build your bank account, because the richest people I know are those who have learned not just to earn, but to think, act, and grow wisely alongside their prosperity.